Today, our panelists with us, of course, are Dr. Tracy Hall, our president of Southwest, Ileana Rossellini, associate VP for Human Resources, Sherry Green, interim vice president of Finance and Administrative Services, Jacqueline Faulkner, vice president for Student Affairs, Dr. Kendricks Hooker, vice president for Academic Affairs. As we go through our program today, we do ask that you keep your questions to the end. When you get ready to ask questions, it will be just like before. You'll go to the bubble at the top where it says show conversation. Click on that, type your question into the chat, and when we get to the question and answer session at the end, I'll read your question and the appropriate person will answer. If we do have questions that we don't get to because we have so many, we will make every effort to answer your question, and we will post those questions and answers on our website. At this time, I'd like to introduce President of Southwest Tennessee Community College, Tracy D. Hall.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you so much. And good morning, everyone. And thank you to everyone for joining us for today's town hall meeting. First, I want to thank you again for the phenomenal work that you have done these 13 months, from pivoting to online learning and student services to now preparing to return to campus and serve our students face to face once more as the world works to return to normal, whatever that looks like. Through it all, your commitment to our students never wavered. You faced a pandemic head on, asking, what can I do to help our students? Every step of the way, and you have done that and continue to do so. Some of you have stepped up to serve our community on the vaccination front also. Special thanks to Vice President of External Relations, Cynthia Graham, Executive Director for Government Relations, Sherman Greer, and Whitehaven Center Director, Dr. Vernita Boone, and her entire staff for answering the call to operate the Whitehaven Center vaccination site. Through it all, from vaccine shortages to long lines in other parts of our community, Whitehaven Center defied the odds and emerged as a model vaccination site. I also want to thank Police Services Director L.A. Webb and Physical Plant Director Jonathan Weldon for their phenomenal work to design and erect a vaccination infrastructure that has served the college flawlessly. Also, congratulations to Director Webb for winning the 2021 SOAR Staff Award, an honor that is much deserved. I also want to announce that thanks to the outstanding performance of Director Webb and the entire Southwest Vaccination Task Force, the college has been asked to open another vaccination site, this time at the Gill Center, and we have accepted this challenge. We are the community's college, which means we are obliged and happy to serve the Fraser community in this manner. Thank you to Academic Support Center Director Ron Claxton, who has stepped up to run the Gill Center vaccination site. We truly appreciate his willingness to serve and look forward to his leadership in this life-saving endeavor. Now that everyone 16 years and older are eligible to be vaccinated, Southwest will hold special days at both of these sites for Southwest students and employees. Stay tuned to the Southwest Coronavirus website and your email for updates on when these special vaccination days will occur and how to participate. Now on to the business at hand today. We are here to discuss what's next, and we look forward to the fall semester. We are already ramping up our transition back to campus with student services returning to on-campus operations April 19th. Several student-facing offices, including recruitment, financial aid, records, advising, and more, are poised to resume face-to-face service this Monday. Our police services and physical plant staff have worked diligently to retrofit workspaces for social distancing and safe operation. Let me say that again, social distancing and safe operation. Sneeze guards have been installed, as have new air filtration equipment to lessen the risk of disease transmission. Current safety standards will remain in effect. Face masks and social distancing will be required at all times until such time as the pandemic and global vaccination progress reach a point where the CDC and other prominent health agencies deem it safe to relax these measures. As you know, we have erred on the side of caution and protecting students and employees through our pandemic response. While others have announced they are definitely opening up this fall, we are taking our time to monitor the pandemic. We are at a critical juncture. While millions of Americans have been vaccinated, there is a hot spot in Michigan we are keeping our eyes on, and the threat of new COVID-19 variants is very real. With these factors in mind, we are cautiously planning to open in the fall, but are keeping a watchful eye on the pandemic and will not hesitate to alter our plans if it is in the best interest of the health and safety of students and employees. Please stay tuned to the Back to Campus Plan online to get the latest information on our plans. We are updating this site as we formulate our plans, and it is your best source of information. Please know that your health and safety remain our top priority. I will now turn it over to Ileana Riccelli, who will tell you about the new initiative aimed at fostering employee success, much like we have done for student success. Thank you again for being here this morning. We are so looking forward to seeing all of you, hopefully in the fall. Ileana.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. Good morning, everyone. Let me start off by welcoming you all and letting you know that I am very excited to say that there are over 200 employees on this call at this moment. This gives us great opportunity to share all of the things that are going on at the college and the excitement that we have in human resources for the many changes that are coming up. I'm going to start off by sharing my screen and sharing with you a brief presentation that I have for us today. And as you can see, the title of my presentation today is Recruit, Retain, and Retire, because our goal here is to provide the employee experience from the time that you get hired and even before that, as you're thinking about Southwest Tennessee Community College as your employer of choice until the time that you end your career here, you move on to greater things, you retire, or whatever your next steps are. I want to start off with our HR structure. We have had a traditional structure at Southwest where we have the leadership and then we have subject matter experts providing services to the campus. As we worked with our consultant, we realized that we needed a structure that was more flexible, one that would address the specific needs of our departments, of our employees, and hence we went to this three-tiered model. We're going to start off with the HR customer support assistant, which will triage questions, which will answer whatever questions you have, whatever issues come up, and try to address them then and there. We will also have a group called the HR business team model, where each individual will be assigned to a particular department or a division so that we can embed ourselves into the business, making sure that we can address the issues as they come up. And then finally, a specialist team as things happen at either the state level or the TBR level, or even amongst us here at the college, we will be able then to address whatever issues arise. We can work with the HR business team and business partner team, and that way we can more quickly and easily address the issues that come up. So we talked about the employee experience, and this is what redesigning that employee experience will look like. We're going to start off with the recruitment, the employee process, making sure that we embrace best practices and recruitment strategies that will attract and will enhance the employee experience. Onboarding, we want to have that orientation process where people feel that they are truly connecting with others, that they are being acculturated into Southwest, that they understand the vision and mission of our organization. And then career development and succession planning, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but just so that you know, we are committed to helping our employees achieve their career goals, be it from the beginning of their employment as we talk through what your career goals look like and how HR can partner with you to help you achieve them. We're going to look at things like job descriptions and performance evaluations, making sure that we're obviously in compliance with the things that we need to do, but that there is a clear understanding of what the expectations are so that our performance evaluations can focus on the goals we have at hand. Compensation is something that we're always going to be talking about, and we're going to continue to address our compensation issues as funds permit. And that will also be something I'll show you in a slide or two. And then finally, retirement and onboarding, where you end up, how you exit the institution is just as important for us as you enter. We want to make sure you have a wonderful experience. We want to make sure that you achieve your goals, and we want you to help us understand how we can continuously improve that experience. So just to share with you a little bit about the HR teams that are involved. So you may have been hearing now for a while the HR ATD. We want to model it after the student ATD that, as you know, was a great success and continues to be. And we want our employees to have that same wonderful experience. We've divided the group into several different categories. So Thomas Cole will be leading or is leading our onboarding, offboarding, and retirement. We have Ashley Geiswhite, who's leading our employment process. Dr. Jennifer Towns and Sheila Kohlheim, who are co-leading career development and succession. And then finally, Dr. Janet Sykes, who led our position description and performance evaluations. And the reason that these slides are so important is just to give you a sense that this is not an isolated group of people who are thinking through what is in the best interest of Southwest employees, but the president has challenged us to get as many individuals involved. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear about your experiences so that we can develop a process that everyone agrees is in our best interest, embracing best practices and ensuring that we continue to achieve the successes that we are clearly on track to achieve. A little bit about the recruitment process. We want to expand our reach. We want to enhance our reach and make sure we cast as wide a net as possible. Who do we want to attract and how do we do that? Making sure that we do that in a way that we advertise our positions correctly, that we establish those partnerships, and then once we have those individuals interested in our jobs, then going through the whole interview and pre-screening process so that we can then hire the best employees that we can. We talked a little bit about onboarding, and let me just spend another minute sharing with you that this is the process we want to follow. We want to connect our new employees with our current employees and create that buddy system so that they understand what is important to Southwest, how our mission affects the community that we serve, making sure that we establish the employee process in a way that acculturates our employees and gets them excited about the work that we're doing. Talking about employees and exciting them about what they do here on campus, we are building a career development process where it allows us to help you grow in your career. What are you doing? Where do you want to get to? And what are the steps that are needed to get there? And it is going to be a comprehensive look at the work that you do and making sure that we provide you the tools and the programs necessary. And I've listed some of them here on your slide. So the classes that you know are free to our Southwest employees: online training and certificate programs, but even more than that, on-the-job training and campus partnerships and mentor projects that allow you to understand the work that is happening here at Southwest and how you can be part of the work that's going on. So this is a little example of what that career ladder may look like for someone who would start with us as an account clerk, for example, with a goal of becoming a budget officer. Here are some of the steps that you could potentially go through. These are things that you would talk to your supervisor about during the performance evaluation and even outside of that process, talking about what formal education may look like, what experiences you would need to consider as you move up this ladder, and the goal setting that would accompany this work. I mentioned job descriptions and employee evaluations, and that's going to be important because as we get hired into our jobs, we need to understand the expectations, and then we need to attach those expectations to the evaluation, making sure that we are being proficient and accomplishing the work that we were hired to do. A compensation plan, so we are developing a strategy that is both equitable and rewards performance, and as funds permit, we will continue to address those issues. We have recently submitted our proposal to TBR for our compensation plan, which will be reviewed on June 30th, which is their timeline. And as we get back information, as we continue being prudent, as we continue being fiscally responsible, we will evaluate the work and the finances that we have so that we can address the issues of compensation for our workforce. Offboarding is important because we want to be able to get that information from you as you leave. What did we do well? What can we do better? How can we enhance that employee experience? And then this is what the timeline looks like. So we are engaged in the recruitment for the human resources team right now. We are going through the HR ATD process and will continue to do so that in August we can have that HR ATD gallery walk, share the communications along the way, and as we get ready for fall 2021, be ready to address the issues and the questions and help everyone achieve their goals. So now, as you've thought about my presentation, I want you to jot down some of your questions. At the end of the presentation, we will have an opportunity for question and answer. And I want to thank you for your time. And now I want to turn it over to the Interim Vice President for Finance and Administration, Ms. Sherry Green. Thank you.
Thank you, Ileana. And I want to welcome everybody to the town hall. What I'm going to discuss is the safety for the campus. So the distribution of vaccines against COVID-19 virus has enabled us to plan a return to campus for full in-person classes for the fall of 2021. But at Southwest, the health and safety of our campus community is our #1 goal. And we will continue to monitor and adapt the protocols as necessary to comply with government orders and public health guidance and what is safest for our students, faculty, and staff. At this point, please keep in mind, it is important to continue the protocols that are currently in place. Complete the campus health assessment form before coming on campus. Sign in and have your temperature checked at the locations set up on each campus. Wear your mask. Frequently wash your hands. Continue to maintain social distancing guidelines. Any changes to these protocols will be released as they become available, and the Back to Campus plan will continue to be updated with the most current information. My presentation is pretty short, but I just wanted to emphasize at Southwest, we are continuing to monitor the COVID-19 situation and will continue to update everyone as changes happen. So now Jacqueline Faulkner will discuss the Student Affairs Return to Campus plan.
Good morning, colleagues, and thank you, VP Green, for your information and for turning it over to me. I will discuss our Fall Back into Fall campaign. You've just heard VP Green talk briefly about return to campus for the fall semester for our classes, and you will hear Dr. Hooker right after me discuss that even further. But even prior to the start of the fall 2021 semester, we have to prepare students to re-enter our campus. We have to prepare students who are interested in learning more about our campuses and speaking to individuals about the enrollment process. And what we're deeming our return on next week is the Fall Back into Fall campaign. And this is where we will return to campus operations and start receiving appointments of students on site. We've heard very clearly from our students through a number of mediums, a survey issued by the state, a survey issued by our own institutional research team, to find out reasons that students had apprehensions or things that we could do to best serve them relative to their decisions to return to Southwest to continue their education. And we heard very clearly from our students, they desired and needed a personal touch. They desired a physical conversation. They had difficulty turning in documents because many of our students are operating and doing their processing on smartphones. And so we are answering that call to our students to ensure that we are offering a number of modalities and ways that they can actually be served and receive the assistance and guidance that they need. So starting April 19th, all of our student-facing offices who impact enrollment will begin office hours on campus through appointments only. So beginning April 19th, students will be able to make appointments through our EAB Navigate app. So if you are encountering students who want to know how to make their appointments, we've done a number of campaigns and will continue to do so. We're directing all students and prospective students to the EAB Navigate app. And that's where they will see full availability for admissions, advising, financial aid, records, all of our, again, student-facing offices to schedule either virtual, in-person, or telephone appointments. So that will begin again on April 19th. We also know that many students and prospective students are trying to make decisions about what college they will attend. And a part of that involves wanting to see the campus physically that they will actually be coming to in the fall. So we will resume our campus tours in a very safe fashion beginning April 23rd. Small groups of 10 or less, and they will primarily be on the Macon and Union campuses. On Union, we have scheduled Wednesdays, and on Macon Cove campus, we have Fridays. If there are additional campuses that students are interested in seeing or outside of those times, they can call the recruitment office to look at availability. But we will begin campus tours. They will resume effective April 23rd. Many of you have also been involved in past years in our summer bridge activities. We know that during that transition between May and August, students engage in life, they get part-time jobs, they do a number of things that sometimes impacts that whether or not they will actually enroll effective August. So you have seen a lot of programming happen across the country surrounding what we call summer melt. And those are programs that we work with students to ensure that they stay engaged during the summer or even receive some academic skill enhancement that will keep them engaged and better prepared to start in August, day one ready. So we have historically done two events that will resume this summer. One is our Summer Bridge program, which is a 3-week intensive program that focuses on helping students meet all of their learning support needs, or at least increase in their academic readiness during the course of this 3-week program. And it is historically held on our Macon Cove campus, and it will resume this year, excuse me, in partnership with Tennessee Achieves. We also have a very highly successful, very intrusive summer melt program that happens during the course of the entire summer at our Whitehaven campus, also in partnership with Tennessee Achieves. And this is a cross-disciplinary program that involves academic affairs, student affairs, business, finance and administration. All areas of our campus are engaged in this project, but it has proven to be highly successful for those students who participate. Last year, we were not able to do it because of COVID-19. The year before, in 2019, we were able to engage, and it is noted as a best practice program across the state, a promising practice program. We had 98% of our participants who were successful in that program. Prior to that, we've never had below 90% of participation success. And the vast majority of those students, upwards of 85 to 100% of those students each year that we've done it, have converted and enrolled at Southwest. So we know that it is a highly successful program. We are excited about the ability to offer this again to students who are in that region, are from those feeder schools that are in that region with Whitehaven. So targeting Mitchell and Whitehaven and other schools in that corridor. But we are, again, excited about returning this highly successful program, and for all of you who have been engaged thus far in the planning. The last thing that I want to share, and I'm sure it's top of mind for everyone, again, we heard clearly from our students that they appreciated our historic virtual commencement last year, but if conditions were conducive, they truly wanted to have a more traditional ceremony this year. So we're embarking upon a history-making event again. We're having our first outside commencement, which will happen at the Liberty Bowl Stadium on May 1st at 10:30 a.m. We know that you've received a number of email communique from the Division of Student Affairs, from Marketing and Communications, outreach for volunteers, outreach for those who plan to participate to ensure that you order your regalia. I hope that you are paying attention and are responding because this is, as I call it, is the hallmark of what we do in higher education. This is what makes it all real. We are in the business of teaching and learning and producing graduates who will go on to be productive members of society. And this is what graduation is all about. So I hope that you are as excited as I am, and look forward to seeing you all on May 1st. And we'll reserve the right for any questions of anything that I've shared at the end of our town hall meeting. And now I want to bring up my colleague, Dr. Kendricks Hooker, Vice President of Academic Affairs.
Good morning, and thank you, VP Faulkner. Good morning, Southwest. I just want to take a few moments to provide you with a couple of updates on academic affairs. But before beginning, I want to echo our president's sentiments by thanking everyone for all that you've done for our students and your flexibility in adjusting to the many changes that have occurred over the last year. The last year has been challenging, but together we have made amazing strides. So I truly appreciate everyone's efforts. As you know, we have been making great strides with our academic master plan. To date, all has gone well, and I look forward to receiving the feedback and recommendations from the priority teams. And I'm certain that this feedback, we will be able to use this feedback to continuously improve as an institution, but certainly improve and identify programs that best serve our communities. I'm well aware of the amount of time and effort that has gone into this project. So I want to thank every single person involved. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I would also like to commend everyone on how we pivoted amid this pandemic to serve our students in the best way possible, which meant we had to increase our online offerings. So for comparison purposes, in fall 2019, a little over 19% of our classes were online or hybrid, with roughly 81% being in person. However, this past fall, we had to pivot. So 89% of our classes were either online or hybrid, and 11% were in person. In looking forward, and as academic affairs to have a greater presence on campus, I wanted to give you an update for this fall. So this fall, there has been roughly a pretty significant switch. Roughly 40% of our classes are online or virtual, with 60-ish% being in person. So we're very excited. And as you clearly see, we've made the necessary adjustments to best accommodate our students. So thank you all as we continue to make these adjustments. And now, and my presentation was extremely brief, so now I turn it over to VP Graham to facilitate our Q&A session. VP Graham.
Thanks, Dr. Hooker. Thank you to the entire panel, and we're ready for those questions. So far, there hasn't been a question in the chat. Y'all have been paying attention and following directions and not entering questions yet, but now is the time to ask any question that you would like. And I'm checking with our friends in the IT department. Have we opened up the chat for them to add the questions, guys?
Yes, we have, and your camera is off also.
Oh, thank you. Okay, we're still waiting on some questions, so don't be shy. Please ask anything. I know our team is watching what CDC and the World Health Organization is putting out. So as we do have changes, for example, now some people don't have to be 6 feet apart. All adults do. I think that's children. But as things change, be sure to look to that back to campus plan. Daphne Thomas and our great team in communications is working hard to keep that up to date. And I have to commend the panel. Apparently you did such a great job at answering questions. We don't have any questions.
Well, I'm a little surprised by that. I'm not surprised at the panel. The team is a great VP team, so I know that they're always thorough, but I am surprised that there are 253 attendees and no questions. What about comments? Again, one of the goals is to increase communication and engagement across the college, which is one of the reasons why you may feel that you are inundated with emails from communications and marketing, keeping you apprised of everything that we possibly can inform you of. We want you to know about it. We also try hard to make sure that the college employees and students are informed first about breaking news. Sometimes that does not always happen, but one of the things that has been a pet peeve of mine in previous institutions is looking at the news and finding out about what's going on at my own institution. And so we've tried our best to make sure that that does not happen here at Southwest. Again, some things happen, sometimes news breaks and it gets out so quickly that we have reporters coming to us for stories before we've had a chance to inform you. But that is definitely, we try to make that the exception and not the rule. We have the town halls because we want to hear from you. We want to give you an opportunity. So please take advantage of that and ask a question and or have a comment or a concern or thought. Nothing is too trivial to ask. We have made ourselves available just so that you can do so. So don't let us down. Let us hear from you.
Dr. Hall, I do have a question from someone who texted me for VP Faulkner. VP Faulkner, you mentioned that students will be able to come on campus to be advised or to tour the campus. Will that be a limited number of students, and how would students go about getting to do that?
Yes, there is a limited number of students, and we enacted the EAB Navigate app before. And so all appointments are scheduled through that EAB Navigate app. And that allows for, again, not an influx of students just to walk on. It is by appointment based only, and they must be all of our what we call care units, which are those, again, front-facing, student-facing offices who impact enrollment will be scheduled through the EAB app with appointments. So students will have to go out, if they say they want to see an enrollment specialist, they will have to go out and look at the availability of enrollment specialists to see if they plan to make an on-campus appointment, a virtual appointment, or a telephone appointment, and they can schedule it through that app.
Great.
Same thing with tours. Tours have to be scheduled through the recruitment office. Again, all of our appointments are scheduled through that app.
Great. Thank you, VP Faulkner. I'm getting messages that there are questions in the chat, and I'm going to ask our friends in IT to help me here because
Okay, I think I found them.
Oh.
I'm just going to see, and I don't mind reading them. One is the in-person classes are back to their normal caps this fall. How then will we maintain social distancing in the classroom? Dr. Hooker.
Good morning, and thank you for that question. I think VP Green alluded to that somewhat, as she indicated that there have been some changes to the social distancing requirement. In some instances, is considered to be 3 feet, but at least at the very moment, it is still 6 feet for Southwest. We will continue, the instructors will continue to practice social distancing as best we possibly can. We still have that mask requirement as well. So I think with those two things in place, we will continue to make the necessary adjustments based on our guidance. But right now it's essentially business as usual, and we will maximize the space with those parameters that I just shared.
Thanks, Dr. Hooker. The next question from Phyllis Owsley. Since the in-person classes are full to capacity, will the students be required to have a vaccine shot? Dr. Hall, would you like to answer that one, or?
No, we are at this time not requiring any student to have a vaccine shot. We have had that conversation not only at the college level, but also at the TBR level, and no school in the TBR system, to my knowledge, has decided to require that students be vaccinated.
Great, thank you. I would put a plug in though, as Dr. Hall mentioned, be watching. We're going to have some Southwest days at both our Whitehaven campus and our Gill campus for our students, our employees, and their families if they would like to get a vaccination. An anonymous person said, "Thank you, Dr. Hall, for your leadership. It means a lot to the college, the community, and to me that you and your team managed to save jobs and not institute pay cuts during the pandemic."
Thank you so much for that. That was, again, we are cautiously optimistic that that will remain the case because of the funding coming in from the federal government. We're just so excited about that. That was, one of those things that you just do not want to do. Cut jobs, cut pay, because it's already a pandemic. We're already struggling and suffering, and then to have that as a worry is something that we did not want to cause for anyone, and even the anxiety of not knowing and even waiting until clear guidelines is an anxious time still, but we're at least the news is better. So we wanted to keep everyone safe, and we wanted to keep all of our full-time employees with benefits. We wanted to keep you all here. We are a big family. We may not always get along all the time, but that's okay. We still work well together, and we want to keep our folks right here with us.
Great, thank you, Dr. Hall. Here's a question for HR, Ileana. One of the AMP teams is working on succession planning. Is this being taken into account? A lot of research and time by the team went into this proposal.
Well, thank you for that question. We definitely want to be able to create synergy in the organization. We want to utilize all of the information, all of the data that is being collected And while I have to admit I was not aware of what was going on with that team, I would like for someone to reach out to me because I want to utilize or connect you with the HRATD team that is actually working on this. It is very important for us to be able to communicate as much as possible. In case you aren't aware, one of the things that the president has been very clear on is that we need to engage as many people in the organization as possible so that we can communicate as broadly as possible. I'll give you a couple of examples. We have recently, probably within the last year or so, established the Institutional Affairs Council. We have the Student Success Council. You all know about PASO and SASO, and all of these groups are the conduit for making sure that our communication is extended throughout the campus. For example, I'm so excited that as we are talking, more people are jumping on this call. We are up to 256 employees. That means that even more people are hearing about the work that we are doing. But getting back to the succession and career planning, which is truly part of the cornerstone of the new HR, is something that I want to become more involved in. So for those of you who are working with the AMP, please reach out to me, and I want to use and I want to connect you with the group that is working on that for the HRATD.
And let me add to that, Ileana, thank you for mentioning those groups, the international. I'm saying now I'm following right behind you, International Institutional Affairs Council, the Student Success Council, and PASO, SASO. We also have this is all on the President's Cabinet. These representatives meet quarterly. In addition, we have Faculty Senate, and we have student government representation as well. So we're hearing from all constituents in our organization to discuss a variety of things related to climate, employee relations, student success. And so it is a great opportunity for the governance representatives to share, and for senior staff to listen and act. So not just listening, but doing something about it. We soon I will share more information about yet another council that I want to add, again, looking at building institutional capacity, but it will focus on planning and budgeting. So that's another piece of the communication that I want to have more voices at the table in helping to advise and helping to provide input as we are thinking about what our funding priorities will be. And so that question about the AMP, the Academic Master Plan, and succession planning and HR, that planning council will bring together representatives of the various plans that we have. And we have a number of plans from the Academic Master Plan, Strategic Enrollment Master Plan, Human Resources Plan, Marketing and Communication Plan, Reimagine Southwest. I'm probably leaving off something, but all of our facilities master plan, all of these representatives will sit around the table and we will make sure that they are integrated. So there won't be a conversation about succession planning with the academic master plan that is not aligned with what we are doing with the human resources plan. So all of that will be integrated. We do not have that formed yet, but it is forming, and stay tuned for more information about that.
Great, thank you, Dr.
It will also be aligned with the budget. So you have a plan, you have the priorities, and you fund it. Makes no sense to do all this work and it sits on the shelf. So we don't just talk around here. You should know that by now. We act, and I'm looking forward to that Planning and Budget Council.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. The next question is, what is the timeline for opening GIL? I'm not sure if this question is about the vaccine site or if it's about opening the GIL campus for classes. So I'll answer the part about vaccine, and then Dr. Hooker, could you answer about when we will be opening GIL for classes? The vaccine site we plan on opening next week. I am constantly talking to our friends at the city and the state to make sure that that can happen. We are scheduled to open on Tuesday, and I'll have confirmation of that date later today. So expect more information about that coming out. It will run Tuesday through Saturday, just like our Whitehaven site, 9 to 6. Dr. Hooker?
Prior to this past fall, we had attempted to schedule classes at Gill for the last few years. Unfortunately, we have not been as successful, but now with a Gill Center Director position being available, we are hoping to work with that person to increase our presence at the Gill Center. So with that said, it is our hope to offer classes beginning this fall again. So we're hopeful that we'll have leadership in place to assist and guide us to make sure that we fill those classrooms to capacity. Thank you, Dr. Hooker.
Our next question is an HR question, so it goes to Associate VP Ileana Ricelini. I butcher poor Ileana's last name every time. Ricelli. Ileana, we've asked students about their desire to return to campus. Have we asked employees about their desire to return?
I think we have been actively engaged in reaching out to our constituency groups, understanding that there are two types of employees on campus. And actually the president wanted us to make sure that we understood how we have to evaluate our employee work, right? We have those that are front facing or student facing, and those that do the work behind the scenes. And we understand, as VP Faulkner discussed, that our students are excited and actively looking to return to campus. And as the CDC allows, we are being very intentional and thoughtful as to how we roll that out. But the expectation is that we will be available for our students. We will be available to continue to engage in the work that we do here. And I want to reach out to anyone who has any questions or concerns to contact Human Resources, and I would be happy to discuss them. But the goal is that we continue on the trajectory that we're on, that we continue to achieve the successes that we have done, and the successes cannot be achieved without our workforce.
If I can add to that, Ileana, thank you for that, your comments. Let me just say, for the leadership team, it's not a matter of if we return to the campuses. It's a matter of how. We are the only, to my knowledge, institution, at least community college in the state, that has been almost 100% online for 1 year and 1 month. And so we think that we have, and based on your feedback, we have been very cautious in making sure that our employees are safe. But the return is something that we will do. It's just how we do it, which is why we have taken this long, because we want to make sure that everyone's safe. So that's not the question of if employees want to return, it's how we return, because as a state institution, we do not get the luxury of saying we will not return to our jobs. It's how we do it and what safety precautions do we put in place to make sure that employees are safe. Again, we have already exercised extreme cautious by working from home 1 year and 1 month. And so that cannot continue because we are not an online institution. And so as was just mentioned, we are looking at how there will be some roles that may, because of the nature of their duties, we may have remote positions because of the nature of what they do. And then there will be those roles that, because of the nature of what they do, will definitely return to the campus. Again, it's based on the nature of the work, but those folks that are returning will definitely be returning to a safe environment. Again, we have had these measures in place for 1 year and 1 month, and we will continue to increase our efforts for safety. And so we will not bring anyone back if we feel as though it's an unsafe environment. But again, the question is not, do we return to work? It's how, and it's a matter of when. And so I just want to be clear about that we have to go back. And it's just a matter of when we are going to go back. And we are working very hard, having these discussions every week and making sure that we have all the safety precautions in place.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. The next question, I believe, goes to Dr. Hooker. What is the news on tenure track appointments? Dolores Thomas Bolin asked this question. Dr. Hooker.
We've been working with HR for the last couple of months to finalize this. We are at a point now where we'll present something very, very soon to be presented to TBR, but we've made great strides. In addition to that, we've been in communication with Faculty Senate for their assistance and approval in the process. So I think we've made unbelievable strides and should have this finalized very, very soon, and probably in all likelihood ready to implement this fall.
Great, thank you, Dr. Hooker. Our next question is, what brand of shots are given out at the Whitehaven and or Gill locations? This is probably a hot topic. You may have seen on TV this morning that Pfizer is being pulled. Right now at Whitehaven, not Pfizer, I'm sorry, Johnson & Johnson is being pulled. Right now at Whitehaven, we have Pfizer. We have had Pfizer at Whitehaven except for 3 days last week when we did have Johnson & Johnson. Later this afternoon, I'll be meeting with the State Department of Health to discuss if there's anything we need to do. But going forward at Whitehaven, we'll have Pfizer, and I have not been notified what we will have at Gill. I imagine it's Pfizer. Most of the sites in Memphis are Pfizer. Our next question, Dr. Hall, I imagine you want to take this one. Lane Roberts asked us a question unrelated to COVID. Last week, Governor Lee signed legislation to make Tennessee the latest state to allow permit-less carry. Starting July 1, adults 21 and older will be allowed to carry handguns openly or concealed without a permit, training, or background check. As we prepare to return to campus this fall, what steps does the college plan to take to combat this new law to keep our faculty, staff, and students safe? Will there be new signage on campus regarding guns? When can we expect to get locks on the classroom doors at Maxine and other campuses?
Yes, thank you, Lane, for that question. Let me just say, first of all, there have already been guns on campus with some of our staff have been able to bring weapons on campus. They have to work with public safety to communicate this fact, and we have to be aware of where these guns are located, especially when we had previously, and we will have soon again, minors on campus, and making sure that they are not in the vicinity of guns on campus. So those are the known weapons and we do know. I don't know who the gun holders are. Public safety, they have that information, and they do not share it, but they are aware of that. So we do already have the weapons on campus. Those are the ones we know, and please believe that there are others that we do not know about. So as far as safety, our efforts have always been to make sure that we have the most safe environment as possible. LA Director Webb and her staff have made sure that we, and Mike Boyd and his team, security cameras, and looking at the staffing, the complement of officers that we have to make sure we have the officers necessary, and looking at all of our facilities to look for ways that we can be safe. We've had the active shooter training. So all of these efforts have gone into place to make sure that we are safe. We cannot say that anything that we do will prevent anything from happening, but we do know that what we can do is to take steps to make sure that people know what to do in the event of a situation. I will also say that we have received funding from the state to place locks on various doors, and that could be a question. He's not on this call, and Sherry may be able to update us as well. Sherry's relatively new, so I was hesitant to call on her to see if she can update us on the status. That's great, of the locks that have been placed on doors and across the campus. And so Sherry can speak to that. But let me just say, this is a new legislation. Our senior staff, we're having these conversations about safety. When I talked about the Planning Council, we will have representation from public safety on that Planning Council as well, because there's so many things that occur that are within our control, but there are things that occur that are not within our control. And safety, you just never know. We're a public institution, and as I said, we know about some weapons that are on campus, but believe there are others that we likely that we do not know about. And so the unknown is one of those things you can't plan for, but you put those measures in place from a facilities perspective, from a public safety perspective, from a student affairs and academic affairs perspective. So you have your behavior intervention teams, and where you're looking to see if there are disturbing behaviors in classes. That whole see something, say something, all of that. So it's not just about, the locks on the campuses. Sherry can speak to that, but safety is so comprehensive, and it involves us all looking, noticing, reporting, even if it just feels wrong and you're doubting whether you see what you really see. The behavior intervention team and those types of reporting, you don't know that what you may see may seem strange, but you don't know that 2 or 3 other people may also have seen the same thing in another situation, and they've reported it. And now the behavior intervention team, they have 4 different reports about the same individual or the same concerns that they see in the classroom. And so don't hesitate to report behaviors that you feel are threatening or you feel are just a little different. That's all of us. And so I'll ask Sherry to talk specifically, though, about the locks on the classroom doors. Sherry.
Thank you. We have a grant from the state and the funding to replace the locks on the doors, and these have to be done by June 30th of this year. And so facilities is working right now with contractors to get these locks replaced. So it will be done by the end of this fiscal year, June 30. And we're also building into the budget some additional security cameras and where we want to place those. So security, public safety, facilities, we're all working to maintain safety on all the campuses.
Dr. Hall, if I can add something there from a student affairs perspective, I had a conversation with our government affairs person, Mr. Greer, and already there is anticipated guidance that will come from TBR, because we do know, even though that law changed, it's slated to insulate higher education. But as we know, things happen in higher education and laws happen, the culture changes. And so we'll have to deal with the cultural shift of this new legislation, even though it excludes higher education. So there's already guidance that's being directed from TBR that will come forth, that we will be able to share with the campus community, particularly our students, because we know there's already some legislation that allows faculty and staff to register with police services. But we will certainly also combat this from an educational place. I've already spoken with our Director of Student Development, Mr. Phoenix Worthy. Anytime things happen around us, even though we can't control those laws, we can help create a culture and teach our students what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. We can help, as Dr. Hall said, to create a culture on our campus community that says, if you see something, say something. So you will see those awareness campaigns that we hope will combat what's happening outside of Southwest to ensure that it does not impact our academic environment.
Thank you for that great question, and thank you to our panelists. That was a great question. Here's our next one, and it was from Michael Jones. I think this has somewhat been answered, but let's touch on it again. Will all staff be required to come back in the fall? Will some of us have the opportunity to continue to work from home? Dr. Hall, you answered that we're going to come back, but that there may be some people that, because of what they do, might be able to stay remote. Would you like to expand on how those people would be selected? And
well, it's about not the people, it's the function.
Sure.
It's the function. And so depending on that function, the role that function plays in the life of the college, that function may be able to continue to remain remote because of the function. But then there are other functions, because of the nature of what they do, it's necessary that there is an on-campus presence. Again, it's about the function because it's about the institution. Everything that we do is about keeping Southwest strong, making it stronger, and the stability and the sustainability of the institution. And so that is exactly what we are determining now. What are those functions that can remain remote? And then what are those functions that, based on the mission of this college, teaching and learning, that have to be on face-to-face, on ground. And so we are making those decisions, and stay tuned for information about that.
Thank you.
Again, it's about the function, not the person.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Hall. Now, here's another question for HR. Ileana Riccelli, I hope that's close. Tell us more about the gallery walk. Is this where we learn of the changes that will be made?
Well, I'm hoping that you are hearing a little bit about the conversations that are happening at the HR ATD meetings. Like I said, we have over 50 employees and growing who are becoming part of the work that we're doing. But the gallery walk is going to be where we unveil the plan going forward, if you will. This is going to be the plan that's going to lead us, and it's a visual representation of the work that's already going on. So we're going to start off with creating that new HR team that I shared with you early on in the presentation, and then we're going to work with the different departments to identify the HR needs, to implement those policies and practices that we have all agreed are best practice and in our best interest as an institution. And then we're finally going to be able to unveil it and share it, answer whatever questions. And it's not a one-time deal, because we want to be in that continuous improvement model. So if it worked now and there are tweaks that have to happen along the way, we want to make sure we get everyone involved as we try out our new structure. If things need to change or shift, then we want to be nimble enough to be able to address the needs as they come up.
Thank you. Our next question is a physical plant question, so it'll go to Sherry Green. Will there be limitations on classroom capacity with new CDC guidelines?
Well, we fully intend to comply with CDC guidelines and recommendations, and so currently it is 6 feet, but is anticipated to be as little as 3 feet. So as we continue monitoring what the vaccination rates are, what the infection rates are, and what the CDC recommends, we will keep monitoring the classroom size and how we social distance in the fall.
Thank you, Sherry. So I would again encourage people to look at the Back to Campus plan. I know our team right now is making some updates, and we're going to try our best to keep that up to date and give the best information there. But as things change, we will put that out. Our next question would go to Jackie Faulkner. From Megan Murphy, do you anticipate that students will be reluctant to come back to full in-class mode?
Thank you, Megan, for that question. I think it's a moving target. I think our students are impacted by what we see daily, just as all of us are. So I think to the degree that we're able to see numbers decline while cautiously watching the new variants, but also seeing vaccinations open up broadly across our county, we will see more of our students have a comfort level to return. So I think that's a mixed bag. So yes, there will be some students, they're not even about the COVID numbers, but I think some students will, after this 1 year, as Dr. Hall has said, 1 year and 1 month of fully virtual, they will have realized, I like the flexibility that comes with online learning. I like being able to do it at home, and they will continue to operate in that mode, which is why you heard Dr. Hooker prescribe that more of a balanced look at online versus in person, 40% online, 60% in person. That's also the reason that from Student Affairs, we continue to engage appointments by various modalities. So though in person will be available starting April 19th to students, we still will continue to offer telephone appointments and virtual appointments, because we know some of our students will choose to continue to operate in that modality. So I think that we will see a decline in that fear and an anxiety from our students and concerns about COVID-19 as we see our positivity rate lessen and decrease, and our vaccination rates across the county improve.
Thank you, VP Faulkner.
Thank you.
Our next question will go to Dr. Hooker and possibly Sherry Green. It's from Emily Ford. Has there been any discussion about whether we will be required to wear masks while teaching in person in the fall?
Well, we certainly will have masks available, and it is our hope that given where we are today, that you will continue to wear your mask. Right now, the CDC guidelines are constantly being updated. It seems like it changes every single week. So in collaboration with VP Green's team, we will continue to make the necessary updates and communicate any changes that occur. But right now, it's business as usual based upon what we've done thus far. VP Green, anything from your perspective?
I would just reiterate that as of today, we do wear masks in the classroom if we have anybody on campus. That will continue to be evaluated as fall comes about, if the mask mandates will continue. But as of today, yes, if you're in the classroom, you'll have a mask on.
Thank you both. Our next question, I believe, goes to HR. Ileana, it's from an anonymous person. What will happen if we have concerns about returning to campus? Ileana, how should they address those concerns?
Well, thank you for the question. First of all, let me thank you all for remaining engaged. Over 250 people on the call, people asking questions, being diligent in listening to the information we are sharing and wanting to know from us. So I'm really encouraged, and I want to thank you all for participating. As far as what to do if you continue being concerned, reach out to Human Resources. So we have a couple of things, right, that are available and have always been available, FMLA or ADA. Those are questions that would have to be evaluated by the team. But if you are just strictly concerned, this is the reason why we have these meetings, to let you know the kinds of preparations that are going on throughout the institution to let you know the precautions that are being taken so that you are aware that it is top of mind for us, the safety of our workforce. And we will continue to evaluate this as we have been doing on a daily basis to ensure that once our staff returns to campus, they will have the best environment to remain healthy during their time here.
Thank you. Our next question, I believe, will go either to Dr. Hooker, maybe Dr. Hooker and VP Faulkner, from Megan Murphy. Her question is, in other words, will they not want to come to class 2 times a week, or do you anticipate they will desire more of a hybrid type class? I think she is asking about students. Do we expect that students will want to go back to business as usual before the pandemic, or will they want more of a hybrid type class?
And thank you, Megan, for that question. And I think VP Faulkner did a phenomenal job in initially responding to that question. But the beauty of it is that all modalities are open to students. So we do have fully online courses as well as hybrid courses. So right now our hybrid courses are either online in Teams or Teams and in person. So we have these, and then we have the in-person classes as well. So we have these 3 different modalities to meet the needs of all of our students. So I think we should be able to accommodate whatever the student desires. So I think we're in very good shape.
Great, thank you. Our next question from Suzanne Gibson goes to VP Green. When does the bookstore go back to regular hours?
The bookstore now, we had regular hours for summer. I think they were reduced only in the afternoon by a couple of hours based on the use of the bookstore, that after, I think, around 2 o'clock, I have to verify that time, that we weren't having any traffic coming into the bookstore. But the bookstore is open, and it will be open in the fall, and it will also open online, and for the curbside pickup will remain in place.
Great, thank you. Lana Harris asked our next question, and it would go to VP Faulkner. Is there a limit on the number of people to attend graduation?
There are limits, Ms. Harris, and I will have to get that from the Liberty Bowl Stadium. We actually have that, but based upon, and I can say this, we pulled in the numbers of students that we anticipate based upon past graduations, and multiplied that by 8 seats plus the number of faculty and staff that we traditionally have. And I think we were still probably 20,000 less than the limit, but I will get you that specific number and share that out. But we will not issue any more tickets than can be accommodated. And it is a ticketed event. So all of our students, faculty, and staff will have to have tickets or an entrant to enter into the commencement. Those pickup dates will happen the week before commencement. I think communique has been sent out, but all students will be required to pick up tickets in order for their loved ones to enter. We were able, as CDC changed some guidance, as well as Shelby County Health Department did a walkthrough with the Liberty Bowl Stadium, we were able to increase that from 6 tickets to 8 tickets. And our students are extremely excited about that, because that had been the source of most questions after we announced graduation, is can I get more tickets? So we were excited about the ability to increase that with the new guidance and still having socially distanced seating arrangements. So I can get that exact number, but trust, when we have met in the past with Liberty Bowl Stadium and did the gross and estimates, if you will, of full attendance based upon prior graduations and the ticketing system, we were still very much below the max capacity that the Liberty Bowl has been given.
Thank you so much, VP Faulkner. Our next question will go to VP Green. It's from Mary Cook. To this point, we've not been able to get on campus with a cough. I've had 2 COVID shots, but I've had 3 different conditions that cause me to cough. Will I be allowed on campus this fall with a cough? I think she's referring to when you take the self-assessment, self-health assessment to get on campus. The first question is, do you have a cough?
That is a tough question for me to answer. I think if you realize that you don't have COVID, that the cough is allergy related, or that they, I would have to check into that, because honestly, the answer to me would be that you don't have a cough that's covered, that you understand the nature of the cough, but maybe the question should be evaluated more closely. If any of my colleagues have any opinions on that, because I know a lot of people have allergies and they do have a cough. And so my answer would be no, because I would know the cough was not COVID related.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sherry, VP Green, that the question may need to be evaluated, and we'll look at how we address that. I think, now with everyone very concerned, as we should be, about COVID, anything we are fearful of hearing. So you hear someone coughing or you hear someone sneezing, it's just a different day, a different time. And so we maybe can look at addressing how to word that question so that it is taken into consideration that there may be seasonal allergies or medication related coughs that people may have. And so that's a good question, one that we had not thought of, but we now can think about. Thank you for that.
That is a great question. VP Green, this one is also for you. I heard that TBR announced salary increase for this fiscal year and next. I know that most likely depends on the financial state of the college. Do we know if those will be implemented? Everybody wants to know about money.
So the governor did propose a salary increase that would be 2% retroactive to January of 21 and 2% going forward into fiscal year 22. The legislature has not approved the increase yet, so it's not officially going to happen. But and then also the schools do have the ability to adjust how they implement. So we are still in discussions on what happens with the salary increase, but we're working on the budget and we're preliminarily putting the money aside for safekeeping of this salary increase. And as soon as the legislature approves it, we'll move forward with the plans of implementing.
Great question. Our next question is from William Wepner. And his question is a little open-ended, so I'm not sure who to toss this to. I believe it might be Dr. Hooker. It could be VP Faulkner. It could be anyone, actually, or Dr. Hall might want to chime in. Anything significant regarding summer school?
In terms of classes, no, but I will add that this summer, one second, let me close some notes here. This summer, in terms of the instructional modalities, 75% of the classes are online or hybrid, with 23% being in person. So that essentially resembles what we're currently doing now. So we'll use the summer to make that transition to what things are going to look like in the fall. But from academic affairs and the instructional modalities, it will resemble what we're doing now. We will continue to use the back to campus parameters in terms of doing the health assessment, mask, social distancing. So we'll continue to do that. So from academic affairs perspective, it will resemble what we're doing at this moment.
And from student affairs, our Fall Back into Fall campaign will be the start of the summer preparation with scale down new student orientations, continuation of campus tours, and appointment-based enrollment outreach activities that happen on campus during the course of the summer. So upon April 19th start, that will be the start of our preparation and assisting students throughout the summer for preparing for the fall.
Thank you both. The next is a comment. Thank you all for providing the college with an update on the happenings around campus. Also, thank you for ensuring the safety of employees returning to on-campus work. That's always nice to have someone say good things. Our next question, I believe will go to Dr. Hooker. What should we do if a student refuses to wear a mask or socially distance? And that may also touch on VP Faulkner. So, Dr. Hooker, how does a faculty member handle a student who refuses to wear a mask or socially distance in the classroom or in the hallway?
Well, as always, in the classroom space, you provide the directives and ensure that the students follow that, and then we'll use the necessary disciplinary measures that we have in place. So we'll work with VP Faulkner's team to make sure that we capture any concerns. But again, we will have the specifics regarding how to operate on campus in terms of mask, social distance, and all of that. And it is our expectation that everyone is going to adhere to that. In the event that they don't, we'll follow the necessary disciplinary procedures.
I have nothing to add. Perfect, Dr. Hooker.
Thank you. We have a comment from Kelvin Davis. Kelvin said, the senior staff has done a tremendous job in leading during these times. So thank you, Kelvin. That's always nice to hear. Patrick O'Daniel says some staff have not felt comfortable returning because of COVID. When will they be required to come back to campus? And Patrick, I think we've addressed this. It depends on where you are. If you're in VP Faulkner's area, you may be coming back next week, but everybody is coming back unless you hear differently in the fall. Would anybody else like to comment on that?
Well, from academic affairs perspective, I'm in communication now with the respective, with the administration team, and they are looking at the work, as Dr. Hall alluded to, we're looking at the work and the work that take place at the institution and whether or not that leads to being remote or on campus. So your respective manager should be having a conversation with you about that work. And we're putting a plan in place to share with Dr. Hall and HR and VP Green so that everyone is aware of who will be back on campus and the work that will remain virtual or remote.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Elizabeth Wilson, and I believe this will go to VP Green and maybe someone else would like to jump in. Can you share more about where the Philip Ashley office space will be?
I don't know. I'm very sorry. If Jonathan is on the call.
I could jump in, and I see Dr. Hall also.
I know where the lease process is.
Sorry about that.
That's what you handle. That's what you handle. Thank you, Cynthia. Yes, you can jump in, and I'll add anything that I missed.
The Philip Ashley space is on the Union campus. I have just gone blank, but I believe it's building M. I'm looking at Dr. Hall, who's shaking her head, so hopefully I have that correct. It is near the cafeteria, but not in the cafeteria. I've been to the space. It was a space that was previously used. I've been told for home demonstration type classes that maybe that we used. It's a large kitchen. Dr. Hall, I'm going to stop because I think I've said everything that I know at this point.
Well, it's a space that was previously used. And those of you that have been around much longer than I have may be able to address the use of it, but it was vacant for a while. And if you ever had an opportunity to go into that space, I would just think about the Brady Bunch, because it was just so 70s, the colors and all of that. And it's nice, large space, large kitchen, large living room area. And so just very nice space, but it had just been sitting vacant. As you know, as part of our Reimagine Southwest work, one of the goals has been to bridge the divide between business and industry and the college. And this gave us an opportunity to partner with a business that could enhance our academic program. We are not in the business of just renting or leasing space just to do so, but it has to be a part of enhancing our academic, our teaching and learning mission. And so we felt that this partnership with Philip Ashley would do so, because we, as you know, have a stellar culinary program. Chef Leek was involved in these conversations as well. That space, and thank you, someone put in the chat, the old dietetic space. Thank you so much for that. And so it's a wonderful opportunity to bring a company onto campus that will also enhance our opportunities for our students. Our students will be hired to work in the chocolate confectionery. And in addition, as we've talked about what we need to do with the crisis and our financial situation, we were looking for also opportunities to increase revenue, to be quite honest with you. And so this gives us an opportunity to do a variety of things that will benefit the college academically, student services wise, in terms of our students being engaged in this new venture, as well as financially.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. I've just been reminded we have 3 minutes till this town hall is over. So there are obviously some questions that we are not going to get to. We will answer those, and again, we'll post those on the website. And if you put your name there, I'll actually send you the answer. But if you didn't put your name there and it just says anonymous, I can't do a whole lot with that.
Graham.
Yes.
Before we close, I did find the answer to the question regarding the Liberty Bowl Stadium in the sole source justification. So this should certainly make us feel great about the choice of venue. Liberty Bowl on field has 86,000 square feet. With social distancing, the max capacity is 58,325. We have put in a number of no more than 12,500. We had at our highest 2 years ago, 700 students roughly that participated in commencement at 8 tickets per student. We're still looking at 56,000, so less than 10% of the full capacity that the Liberty Bowl can safely handle with social distancing.
Great, thank you. Thanks for bringing that back up. Our last question will go to VP Green. It's from an anonymous person who says, when we return, will the buildings and bathrooms be sanitized daily and bathrooms cleaned several times a day? Sherry, I know this has been a hot topic as things have changed recently. So
yes, so currently the CDC had originally said every 2 hours that the bathrooms would be cleaned, and that is the protocol that we have been following. Now their guidelines are regularly. So we have to define what the term regularly is, but they will definitely continue to be cleaned daily, probably more than once a day as we return to campus, for sure. And I did want to go back to the locks on Maxine Smith. They have all been changed. So in the question with the door locks, I did hear that Maxine Smith, they have all been completed.
Thank you so very much. That's very helpful. We've got 1 minute left, so I'm going to pull another question out. A lot of questions about health assessments, about temperature checks. VP Green, I seem to be pushing a lot of these to you. This does fall under you. Do we know what we're going to be doing in the fall at this point?
Not 100% at this point. We are looking at it. The question of the temperature check stations, when we all come back, how are we going to do that? What are we going to continue to do with the health assessment? Those are all in discussion right now as far as how those will look in the fall. But I can say as of today, they are all still in place and they are all still in the back to campus plan. And so we should just follow the guidelines we have been following. And as soon as we know of any changes to those guidelines, they will be discussed and made available.
Great. Thank you. Thank you to all the panelists who have been here today. I appreciate this team. And we've had some tough questions. I appreciate everyone who is tuning in with us and answering the questions. And Dr. Hall, I will turn it over to you at this time.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you. You've done a fantastic job of moderating and organizing. You and your team have done a great job. Michael Boyd and your team, the technology has been wonderful and has worked perfectly. So that is great. So thank you all for your leadership in making this town hall I believe, orderly and successful. Thank you to everyone for attending as well. Your questions, VP Graham said they're tough, and I like tough questions. I like candid questions, as long as you can handle tough and candid responses. You all probably have figured out by now I don't sugarcoat much. And so if you have that question that's pointed, get ready for a pointed response, because I think that honesty is critical and transparency is as well. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for your fantastic questions. Thank you for your commitment to the college, to the students, understanding the mission of Southwest. We have weathered and we are weathering a tough situation. This pandemic is like none other. We have not had a roadmap. We have been building as we have been climbing, and that's something I don't typically like to do. I like to have a plan and implemented a plan, but with a global pandemic, this was not something that we could have even prepared for or even thought to get ready for. But I think that we have done a fantastic job, and by we, I mean we collectively. The leadership at the senior staff level, the COVID task force, all of you in your roles have done a wonderful job, and I appreciate the commitment to the college and to our students and to our community. Understand that the mission of Southwest is to serve Memphis and Shelby County and Fayette County. It is not about us, and I am so impressed by those of you who have been selfless in that. What can we do to serve students? Of course, you want to be safe, but you understand that the reason that any of us works at Southwest is not about us. It's about the business of the college, and the college must go on even in a pandemic. And we have done that. We have run operations online for 1 year and 1 month. And so as we discuss returning to our on ground face-to-face offices, we will do so with the same safety in mind as we have all along the way. And so again, thank you so much for your leadership. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your service. Have a great day and be well.